Howdy folks, and welcome to this episode of RM 3D Creations. This is the flagship episode. This is the first one for this channel. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to dive in firsthand with a beginner, myself, on doing 3D printing with this new Creality Ender 3. It's made by Creality. It's an Ender 3 version 2. I did some research, did some online, watched YouTube videos, watched several things, got to talk to other people that had printers. I've got the wrong glasses on. No wonder things look blurry. Well, that's better. I can see clearly now. All right. But I did some research and decided to go with this one as my first 3D printer. When I say first, obviously I think once you get into 3D printing, I think it just snowballs from there. I really do think it's that way. If you're here and you've followed me on my other channel that I have, which is RMD Creations, which is all about do-it-yourself and DIY with outboard motors and boating and different things like that, and projects that are out in the shop, you'll know where I'm coming from. I have a lot of outboards out in the shop. About mid-year I had one or two. I have 34 out there right now. So I'm kind of, I think it's obsessive compulsive behavior when it comes to my hobbies and things I really get deeply into. And this is going to be no exception. I am fascinated by what these things are capable of and what you can do and create from nothing. And as you can see here, this is going to be an unboxing video as the title claims. Here's what it looks like when it's out of the box and operational. I have now been experienced with this thing for 4 to 5 days, I believe. I can't remember what day I got it, but I think it's been actually off for maybe 5 to 8 hours since I've owned it. Once I fired it up, I've been printing and doing things and discovering and just discovering things as I go and as I learn. And I want you guys to be right there learning with me. Now, in this video, I would appreciate if you watch it all the way through. If you plan on commenting, I do love the comments. I read them all. I reply to all of my comments whenever I can. Some of them I miss. Sometimes YouTube doesn't even let me get to see them for whatever reason. But I want you to watch this one in full because I do make some mistakes while I'm putting it together. I also discovered some issues while putting it together that I had to correct, and to make this thing hopefully last a little longer than it normally would if I'd have just bolted it together, not knowing any better. I want you guys to enjoy it and learn along with me so you have a better printing experience from the word go. But let's jump in it together. Sit back. This is a long video, and I appreciate if you watch as much of it as you can. Get your favorite beverage, pop your popcorn, sit back, hit that play button, and let's learn this stuff together. I'm excited about things that are new. I love learning new things, and I'm just generally excited and happy and having fun all the time anyway. So come along. This is me sober. Get used to it. Let's jump in and see what we can discover putting this thing together. Okay, let's open this thing up and see what we got inside here. We're going to lay out all the components. We're going to do something I don't normally do, which is follow the instructions. So as I've seen on all of the other videos, this stuff is very well packed. It is definitely been ship tested. We'll throw that over there. We have our manual. We have, let's see here, can I lift this out? This looks like this is all connected. Go ahead and set these out. Looks like our control, maybe. Spool holder. You gotta apologize for all you experts out there if I'm not calling these things by the right name, because I probably won't. I'm not that up to speed yet. Knob. Trying to be careful not to lift on something I shouldn't lift on. Here we go. That's it for layer one. Looks like some more aluminum pieces, some small components. From what I understand, a belt tensioner, power cord, tools and zip ties, putty knife, another set of rollers, and looks like the worm gear motor. And one loose screw. Aha, came right out of here. I could have stopped everything, missing that. Okay, let's let this aside. Okay. Let's go into our manual here. This is showing the assembly, introduction, equipment parameters, all kinds of parts. Oh, here's what the name of each one of them is. So yeah, we've got our printer base here. We got our display kit here. Nozzle kit, which is looks like this guy here is our nozzle kit. Our Z-axis passive block. X-axis tensioner. Z-axis motor kit. Limit switch. Looks like it's right there. XE axis kit, which is this guy here. Then we got a Z-axis profile, so we got all these different tubes in here and the screw. I'm going to go ahead and take the plastic off here because I see right inside this tube is a screw. And that tube was just for protection. Toss it away. Let's go ahead and unwrap all this. Some of the stuff I'm going to tell you, I learned by watching other folks' videos, and I find the videos very helpful, and I want to provide the same service at the beginning of our journey here, and as I learn things along the way. So I'm pretty sure these are the uprights from what I've seen. And then we've got axis profile and gantry profile with these pieces right here. I'd use my knife to open this up, but it's got such pretty black anodizing on here, I don't want to scratch it. There we go. Inside this bag, we have the Z-axis limit switch, another knob. I think this goes on top of the feeder. Nicely labeled screws, T-nuts, more screws, a drive belt. I forget what this tube's called. There's a tube that goes from, that's on the end of that piece over there. Alright, spare parts list here. Let's keep moving. So it looks like we jump right into putting the uprights on. Now what I've seen in other videos, I'm going to move you over to a space that's right here. Let's move these. I'm going to assemble this. This is the front of the machine, is my understanding. So I'm going to assemble this with this facing you. I'm going to be behind it so I can give you a clear shot on everything. First thing I'm going to do is remove these clips and remove this piece of glass. So I don't accidentally break it. The next thing we're going to do is roll this up on its side and install some of these legs. So now it's saying that there's a short distance between this hole and here, or long here, short here, and this would be on the bottom, the short end being on the bottom, with it facing inward like that. Holes are facing inward. So now we got to get our screws, which is a number 31. Let's see, these are the M5 by 45. There are 4 of those. We're going to break out our tool bag here to get the Allen wrench out. Pretty nice little toolkit it comes with. Now we're going to bring these screws up here. From what I've seen on the videos, is we're going to bring these up till they're just enough to hold this in place and you can still wiggle it. We don't want this to be too tight. That's not the goal yet. And we're going to flip this the other way and then do the other side. And this appears that it can go either way, but with the small holes down toward the bottom. They did provide us with 5 of these, so we'll see if the other one gets used somewhere, or if that's an extra. And just like the other side, we're going to bring this up so it's still loose enough that we can still wiggle it. Alright, let's upright this thing. Go to our next step. Now it looks like we're working on the Z-axis motor. So we have this here, and let's see what wrench fits this. This is the one the screw was out of in the box. We'll go ahead and install it and tighten it down the screw. we have that installed now. Next step is to place it on the back side with 2 screws. There's 2 M4 by 18. These are flathead screws. Okay, here's the Z-axis motor installed in place. You got the 2 little flathead screws right behind this coupler piece here, attached in place. The other thing you want to make sure you do is make sure you're lined up vertically, perfectly vertical, on this upright post. Of our last 2 remaining bars, we're going to take the longer of the 2, and as you can see here, there's an extra clearance hole here with 2 threaded holes. The clearance hole is so it clears this little button right there on that button head screw. This will be mounted in here like this. So we're going to go ahead and put 2 screws through here. Let's see if I can get them finagled in there. There's one. And oh. This is going to be kind of clumsy. The nice thing is they do give you an access hole on the opposite side. So hopefully I can get one started here. Yeah, there we go. Thank goodness for that extra hole there. I'm going to go ahead and lock these down. Now with those locked down, looks like the next thing to do is to install the drive belt. Oh, we can go ahead and install this piece too. This is called the pneumatic joint. It comes with 2 of them. We're going to go ahead and use the provided wrench, and we'll give that a little tightening. Not going to get crazy there. This looks like our little nozzle here. Don't want to lose that. Now let's put the drive belt on. The drive belt's going to have to go down and around, and here's your other tensioner pulley. So let's go ahead and get the belt on. And the teeth are going to face inward. So here's your drive belt. Let's go ahead and see if we can fish that on around. And it would appear that you want the joint to be on the bottom. So we want to go through the top and around. Oh, come on. We're out around here, and we'll fish this back through. Just like that. There we go. So now we've got that wrapped around the drive pulley there. And then we'll go around under here. But before we do that, we have to install the, what's it called? The nozzle kit. That's going to go on next. According to the instructions, yeah, they're showing this going down and around and basically poking out the bottom. So we can go ahead and, it's showing the tension not being on there just yet. And the tensioner go on after that. Okay. So excellent instructions so far. Let's slide down here and put that on down here. Now according to this facing just like this is, right? Oops, nope. Nope, nope. Okay, with this in this position here, you want the double rollers to be up top. So we're going to go ahead and bring this on around. put this on. You got to hold the belt down in the groove, and then roll this over the belt area. Boom, boom, just like that. It's going to be a little resistance going over that little bracket on the belt, but it pops right over it. And with that, we can hook this part of the belt. Goes in. Let's see here. I believe that's going to go in like this. Fits up in the groove, and then see if I can get it in there. I'll show you what it looks like once I get it in. We've got that in there just like that with this little brass thing. Should be up there as close as you can possibly get it. And as you can see, we can actually move this by just pulling that. The next step is going to be putting the other roller on. And it would appear that it goes on wheels facing up. That doesn't feel right. Oh yeah, okay. So that's gonna go on here. See this other, we got this other little button head. It's gonna go right in there. That's gonna go on there like that. And then we're gonna put 2 more screws in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this over so I can see. Yeah, like that. Well, no, that ain't right. These are gonna go on like that from this side. Now you've seen a lot of guys, you might have watched a lot of videos and watched guys put these things together, and they've got a lot of spit and polish in their process. It may be their second, third, or fourth one they put together, but this is my first one, and I'm not even doing a practice run with you guys, so this is as real as it's going to get. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and lock this down. There we go. That's locked in place. Oops. This looks like it should have been, maybe. Is it? Could it be? Would it be? Should it be? Let's see where this goes on. Step 5. Yeah. Let's back this one back out. Whoa. Sit, boo boo, sit. There we go. Alright, we gotta pull this apart. So unscrew this all the way. Boom. Like this goes on in this direction here. Yep, that's how it fits. Right there. But we gotta take this belt. It wants to flop all over. There we go. Take this belt and run it through here. Like this. We could hook the other end in this slot, I believe. Yep, doesn't say I can't. Don't see why I can't. Let's do it. down in its slot. So now we should be able to slide this back on over here. And we can put our little button head screw in from this side maybe. Start our knob back on here. We're not going to put tension on it just yet. Flip it over. I'll give you a flathead to go in from this side, looks like. We're going to slide this back and forth and see how it runs on the rollers. It seems to run pretty true down the center of them. Let's put a little tension on this thing now. You don't want to get crazy with the tension, but we're going to sit here and look at these rollers. I don't know if you can see it in here. You see it down through the slot here. Seems to be tracking real well. All right. I think we got that assembly done. Oh, cool. It would appear we're gonna set it down on here. I actually did this backwards. That's what's going to make mine more real than everybody else's. I'm going to show you my mistakes. This one was supposed to be on the other side. The good news is I can just take it loose. I never had them tight to begin with, and just switch sides. I can leave this little motor here attached. Hang it on the machine, just like this, maybe. Now we're going to install the top bar. Right, wrong, or otherwise, I pulled this screw out of here so I could feel the motion here freely and make sure there was no play, make sure I had the right tension on the wheels. You can use this little wrench to adjust the, you want to adjust the cam nut so you can feel the wheel just slip a little bit. It shouldn't be bound up so tight because you could have too much tension on it. And that feels like it's pretty darn close there. You don't want to have it too tight. Now I can see that this thing moves freely with no hiccups. Same way here, this is smooth, fluid motion through its travel. All right, so now I can actually go ahead and I can stick this coupler back on. And there's no flats on the shaft, it's just a pinch. So we can set that back on there. And we want to have it just off the bottom. It shouldn't be touching, because then it'll rub. So we're going to lift it up just a touch off the bottom there. Then I'll put my screw back in. It's easy enough just to drop right back in here. place. I'll lock it down. Oops. Okay, one little thing I've discovered here is I want to make sure these two things are parallel with one another. I'm going to use this top brace, and I've got some clamps that I use out in the shop, and I am going to clamp them. They got plastic feet on them so they won't damage anything or scratch anything. But I'm going to clamp this one up here like that, and I'm going to clamp the other one down here, and that's going to hold these two vertical beams parallel to one another while I tighten the bottom screws. That way they maintain their parallelism. Once I have those tightened down, I can remove this, and everything is nice and parallel now. Much better than the first way I did it. Now I'm going to roll this back up. Be careful not to let this slam down because I got the screw out of it right now for a reason, and I'll show you why. Use my little handle, handy dandy handle there. We'll go ahead and put these screws back in the top now. And that's why I can't have nice things. There we go. That's why you pull the glass off first. So what I'm going to do here is this moves freely all the way down. We're going to bring it all the way up. And I'm going to hold it up here so it holds the spacing where I want it while I tighten these down. And that will ensure the parallelism here. I'm much more satisfied with that. Now I'm going to show you the other problem I've run into. I'm going to set this right here, and I'm going to bring you around to my side here in a second. Is when I put this screw in, if you follow their instructions, especially on this one I've got here, this screw has a lot of play in it. I'll give you that. That's a good thing because everything's not lined up perfect. But there's a big but going on here. This coupler is not a flex coupler. It's rigid. When you put this in there and tighten it down, it's now rigid, and whatever's coming out wants to stay, you know, in line with this way this thing is manufactured. Well, let's see if I can get a way to show you this. Okay, I'm just using the little USB micro USB adapter that came along with the kit to show you what I'm seeing here. I'm trying to get it so you can see it. See how this? Now look down here. I've got this sitting right, just eyeballed on center. Just eyeballed on center. You can see that there. We come up here. I'm going to show you the gap here. That fits right in there. Now if I come back down here, look how much of a difference there is there. If I put that so it's the same width. Let's see if I can set this down. If I do this so it's the same width, so it's running parallel to this beam, look how much offset. Well, that's hard to see. But look how much offset that is. That's not cool. That's going to put one heck of a bind on things because this coupler doesn't have any flex, like I said. That's not good. It's important because we got wiggle. We got wiggle this way. There is no wiggle in and out. So basically this needs to be shimmed out. That's the only way that's going to work. All right, I'm going to explain what I did here. When I was putting this together, I noticed there was a lot of bind here, and they really tell you to focus on your alignment vertical here, being in the center of this, but they speak nothing about the alignment here. And that's what I was noticing. There seemed to be a heck of a lot of binding going on. I'm trying to get this piece of wood back here so I can kind of show you what I'm looking at. But and now this isn't, I use feeler gauges and stuff, but I was having a, you know, where this thing here would just barely fit, and up here there was like, you know, oodles of gap here. So now I've got it the same distance top and bottom, and it ended up, you can't see them very well. Might see a little trace of it right back here. I put two 40 thousandths thick washers back here, and that spaced the motor out just far enough so it made this run parallel. So something's not designed or engineered or manufactured correctly to hold this. Now the videos I've been watching only tell you to watch it in this direction, but nothing in this direction. And I'll tell you what, as much of a bind as this was in, going up and down, now it moves, you know, very freely. You're going to wear this screw out really quick, or you're going to wear this motor out. Something's going to give quicker because there was such a bind on there. Anyway, that's one of the things I discovered as I'm putting it together. But now I've got that sorted out. The other thing I did is there's a limit switch you put on here. It's just a little L bracket here. And one guy said if you're running a glass bed, which this is to put about a spacer or I don't quite have it there yet, do I? Let me set this down and show you what I did there. We'll loosen these back up a little bit. Now we'll find out if this is true or not. So that's why you got to watch the video all the way through in order to make sure. I might have told you something part way through and then had to change it, but that's how we're learning as we go. They said to put about a wrench worth of spacer there. Instead of letting that tab go all the way down and touch here, you put a little, that much spacer on there, and you will have for the glass bed, it's supposed to set your limit switch here a little closer than what it is, or than what it should be, by going all the way down the bottom. We'll find out if that's true or not. I'm not that far along yet, but so we got the wrench width there that came with the kit. So now we've got all this locked down in place. We've got everything adjusted to where I feel it should be working like it should. Let's go on to the next step finally. Okay, the next thing I did was insert this tube in here, and you pull this little cap out a little bit, and you put this little blue clip behind it that keeps it so it stays locked and doesn't move around on you. So we've got that put in place now. Okay, the next order of business is to install our spool mount. So we've got our T-nuts put in place here, ready to go on, and then we'll put the spool through here, and on the other side we'll put the lock nut on, or the locking nut on, press that in place, and then rotate it. There you go. Rotate it, and that's locked on here, and let's mount this up on top now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one left hand side right here in between these two here, and we're going to tighten it down right there, and that way it'll be as far as left as I can get it. Alright, let's catch up to where I'm at. I've got the spool mount on, and I've got this little knob for the filament feeder. Let's go around this other side here. All the wires are clearly marked as the X, Y's, and Z's, so you got to hook this particular one up. You've got to hook up a limit switch here. There is another limit switch that's down inside here, behind this cover. You've got your I forget what you call this one. They're all clearly labeled. E. You got your E one there, and then you got your Z axis you got to plug in here, and your Z axis limit switch. But anyway, once you got it all plugged in, you're about ready to go. Let's power it on. power it on and see what happens. Hopefully the smoke doesn't get out. Well, looks good. All right. So we can do prepare, control, info, control. Let's hit prepare. And let's do an auto home. Let's see what it does. There it goes. Clickety click. Clickety click. Now the Z's moving down. I should hit a limit switch there. And while it's doing that, it says auto homing, please don't other operation. So we're gonna please don't other operations right now. Alright, so now it's home. Let's do a move. Let's move Z. Okay, so it looks like here you hit the, okay, for here, for instance, I'm going to hit Z. You can click it, and you can dial up a number. It looks like just dial up whatever you want. You come over here and you hit the little button here again, and it moves. I can do the same thing in X probably. Let's wheel up a number here. Hit enter, and X moves a little quicker. Huh. And I'm assuming we can do the same thing in Y. Click it, dial in a number, and it moves. Cool. Pretty intuitive. Right now we're not doing anything to heat anything up. Can disable stepper. Which does that mean is, yeah. So now that the stepper's disabled, we're gonna do a leveling of the bed. I'm going to take you through the steps I did to prepare this machine for print. You saw the assembly, it's all put together. Now we want to level the table. So when you get to your home screen here, you got some choices. You got print, prepare, control, and info. I'm going to go to prepare. Push down the knob, advances the screen. We're going to go down to auto home. Now that we've got it here to auto home, we're going to click start. But I want to get you focused on what the bed's going to do when I hit the auto home. It's going to go and set itself against all the limit switches. So it's the X, the Y, and now it's coming down. It's going to do the Z, and we're going to leave it where the Z is at. And I'm going to show you what I did to level the table. You've got 4 adjustment knobs, 2 up front, 2 in the back. Now once I've got it homed, I'm going to go back over here and select disable stepper. Now the stepper motors are disabled at that point in time. And what we're going to do here is we want this piece of paper, like I've got it here, this one just drags underneath that nozzle. And it could probably be a little tighter, but that's what this is how I did mine. It just drags when you hit that on that nozzle. Once you get the far left front done, you want to gently push this thing to the other corner. And you want to check the nozzle height there. Now here I've got a little less drag. So what I want to do is turn this knob. There, now I have the same amount of drag I had on the other side, which is pretty snug. Then I'm going to gently push the table forward. You don't want to move anything up or down. This one could stand to be just a little bit tighter. Just a little bit, not much. There, that feels better. Or does it? Might be a little too. Yeah. That feels pretty good right there. Now we're going to push this gently straight across. Don't push it up or down at all. Go straight across to this side. And we're going to check this corner. This corner seems a little tight. There we go. That feels really good. And then I'm going to push the table back gently. And we'll check this front. You may have to repeat this process. Now when I set this up the first time here, I repeated this process like 5 or 6 times, corner to corner to corner, till I got all 4 corners exactly the same. Once that's ready to rock and roll, you're good to go. The next step we're going to do is we're going to do a print. And I'm going to show you over here real quick. I've done now several prints. So this was the very first print. This was one of the default prints that was on the chip when I got the machine, that came on the machine. There was another cat one I did. I've already given that one away. I did a test cube. It's a 20mm square cube with X, Y, and Z on it. It lets you see the quality of the letters layouts to see if you got any kind of, there's a lot of different lingo in printing world I'm not familiar with yet, but make sure it's clean. This actually came out really good. This square is within 20.04 to 20.09 is the range between all 3 measurements you take here. Here's another benchmark here that I did, or it's called a benchy, but it's a bathtub benchy. And then I did this big old owl back here. This owl was about almost a 12-hour print. This boat was about a 12-hour print. This was golly, I can't remember, 45 minutes maybe to an hour, and so on. So anyway, we printed those 3 things off of here, and was pretty pleased with how it turned out. The quality turned out really good. So once you're ready to print, like we've got it zeroed out here, we've got the bed leveled, we've got our file or chip placed in the machine here. So we've got the little SD card right here that has our information on it. Once you have that in there, we can go hit, let's see if I can get the glare gone for you here, hit back, and then we're going to go back to a print and hit print, and then we're going to go through and look at what are the different things we want to print. Here's all our files that we can print. We got a cat, there's the dog, there's the owl, the XYZ calibration block, the simple, what was that, the simple boat? Yeah, I think that's called a simple boat or something like that. And then we got, let's see here, I got a steam punk octopus, and I got what they call a concrete fish here. So I want to go ahead and print that concrete fish. I thought it looked kind of neat. And so all you do once you go to print it, or want to print that one, your selection, click down, and everything starts to happen from there automatically. You'll see the nozzle temp is going to go up to 50°C. So that's going to climb up to 50 first. And then you're going to see the table temperature climb up to, I'm sorry, the table temp's climbing up to 50 degrees C. The nozzle temp is going to climb up to 200 degrees. So once this hits 50, then this is going to climb up to 200, and then it'll automatically take off. And I'll time lapse this part of it here so you can see it get up to temperature, and then we're going to see how it initiates a print. Because what it'll do over here on the table is it'll lay a stripe down on the left hand side, which is like a nozzle cleaning, flushing type of thing. Then it'll do a couple of perimeter swipes around the object that it's going to do, and then it starts laying down the first layer on this bed. And I really am enjoying this particular bed here because it holds. You put everything I've printed so far, it holds so tight, but when it cools off back down to temperature, room temperature, it lifts off like it was never even stuck down. I mean, it literally lifts off so easy, you would think somebody just set it there and you just picked it up from them setting it there. That's how free it gets. As you can see here, we're getting really close to the 49, 50 degrees. Now we should start seeing the bed temp. So now the next thing in the program is taking the bed temp up to 200 degrees, and you're going to see that slowly climb. Once that gets to 200 degrees, the program will initiate on the table and it will begin to print. Pretty cool stuff. Alright, now that it's at temp, as I just said before, it's going to lay down a little, I think it's a cleansing. You guys can leave comments below, but it's either a cleansing, nozzle cleaning, movement. Flushes things out, gets things going. You can also eyeball it, make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. Now it's going to do that perimeter layer that's around the outside of this thing. And this is through the slicing program that I used. It's saying it's going to be around an 8-hour print to do this one. And right now we're playing with a lot of the, as you can see, all my parts are in black. I bought a roll of black PLA. So this is all going to be in PLA. There, it did the outsides. Now it's going to start doing the base for the object. So we're going to go ahead and put you on time lapse and see if we can get this whole video done here, and so we can watch the whole thing being built. Well, here's my third print that I've created. It's an owl. It's about 6 inches tall. It finished up after about over 11 hours. Looks like it turned out pretty well. Now the bed is completely cooled off. We're going to see how easily this lifts right off. It was not stuck at all. That's cool. But let's look at it. It's an interesting zigzaggy stitch line in the back, but it all looks to be very good detail and very complete. That is completely awesome. So there's the first little thing I printed off. I don't have the second thing, but there's a little tiny dog, and there's my owl next to it. I'm pretty pleased so far. This thing is working amazingly well. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you found it informative, and I hope you learned something right along with me as I learned. As you saw in the video, I do make mistakes. I do have errors. I do not always follow the instructions to the T, but in this case, I did follow the instructions pretty thoroughly because I wanted to make sure I had my best chance of getting this right out of the gate. As you can see, we're still printing more stuff. This thing is always running. We've printed quite a few things. This is kind of cool. This is what they call a steampunk octopus. I tried that one out. It's amazing this thing can print with movable loose pieces in one print. You don't have to assemble that. It's just some cool stuff. I'm going to continue to do these things. My end game here, folks, my end game here is I've got outboards that need parts, plastic parts, 50-year-old plastic parts that you can't buy anymore. And my goal in this video, or this video, with this new endeavor, with this RM 3D Creations, is to design a part, build a part, use a part that you can no longer buy. The only time you can find some of these old outboard parts is when you have somebody else on eBay that has parted out an old motor, and this is the last plastic part. The bad part about that is still a 50-year-old plastic part on a 1970 outboard motor. So with that being said, we're going to learn how to make some of this stuff together. Stick with my channel. We're going to go through, learn this from scratch. We're going to build and develop a little 3D building empire here, if you will. So guys, I hope you get out there and have some fun. Gals, I hope you get out there and have some fun. Technology is awesome and fun. Dive into it. Don't be afraid of it. It isn't a try, it's a just do it situation we're in here. This is Michael, and I'm out.